For me, it's like a really tight community that's really helpful. Like people are always helping each other. When I moved here, I still remember, back from where I came from, like in Flanders, people are quite on their own. They everyone does their stuff, but when I arrived here, I was moving all by myself, and all the time people were asking me, do you need some help? Should I help you? And at first I was like, no, 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 because that's typical for Flemish people. But then after the 10th car full of my stuff, I was like, okay, yeah, you can help me, please do. And then people were like, they took out all my stuff, they put it in my apartment, and before I could even say, do you want a coffee or something, they were already gone, and they said, welcome to Molenbeek, enjoy your stay. And yeah, that was basically it. So that immediately for me, that was like, I felt very welcome here and very much at home. And that feeling only grew towards the years, because now when I go to the shop here and I forgot my money, I'm always like, oh, well, I will go get it at home very soon because I live so close by. And then they're like, no, don't do that, you'll pay later. They don't put it down anywhere. They just trust me to say when I come the next time, hey, I still owe you €5. But they never, yeah, they're very trustworthy, and that's something very rare in these times. So I was in bed the moment it happened, when I was still sleeping, and I think it was mostly disbelief at the first. It wasn't an entire shock because it already happened in Paris, but still somewhere it was. It's not because you know something could happen that when it happened, it's like, my first reaction was, I think, calling all my friends from Brussels. Like, I have a godchild who takes around the same hour that metro, so I was like, oh my god, I hope she wasn't on it. They luckily weren't. They were like the metro before it, but like it's so close by, and that was like, that grabbed your breath for like, well, somewhere it already, in Paris, it was already clear that they were like people involved. So it makes me sad, of course. But on the other hand, I'm also like, I'm someone who's very much interested in psychology behind everything. So I was wondering how and why are there people here that live here that apparently feel so out of context or out of place that they'd rather die while fighting or like even killing other people than continue their lives here. So that it also worried me, and I also somewhere I think I felt some guilt because I'm like one of the I'm not rich, but of course in a town like Molenbeek, sometimes it might come off as if I'm one of the gentrification people, and yeah, that maybe we don't always think about the struggles that other people are going through. Yeah. Well, most of them also were pretty shocked. Like the people that I know here, they've known like Salah Abdeslam. He grew up here with a lot of people that grew up here too. He lived very nearby, and a lot of people knew him when he was a kid, and they were all completely shocked because they said, I did not see this coming at all. They apparently, the Abdeslam brothers were really friendly young people. Well, of course they're not. It's not that I want to I didn't know them, but that's what I hear. But that's often what happens, of course, when when your neighbor appears to be a murderer. It's rarely something you expect. So, and that was also the reaction of the people here. They were like, what, those? They went to school with me, or a lot of disbelief, I think. Molenbeek has been the neglected kid of Brussels for a long time. They didn't invest here in culture, in facilities for people to spend their free time. So what happened is that a lot of people here didn't have any place to enter the community, really. Like, I mean, like young children that weren't really, yeah, how should I say it?
Integrated.
Yes, but they also didn't get a chance to integrate. So there's like Molenbeek has gotten for a long time has gotten a very small amount of money, well, from to invest in the important things that we now see as so important, but that were like, that's not important, like free time and culture. Of course, that's what makes people integrated somewhere. And I think those are, we see the results from that neglect right now. Yeah, well, I lived in this town where I hardly knew my neighbors. Well, I knew the people who lived next to me, but the rest of the street, not at all. And here in Molenbeek, like we live in a very busy shopping street here. When I used to live in this street, I walked by to the metro, and then there was like the pita shop. They were like, hi. And then I walked by the small shop for groceries, and they were again like, hi. And yeah, it's just like a really warm feeling, I'd almost say. Like here too, when I first arrived here, he was actually closed, but we were curious, and we said like, hey, can we have a look? And he was like, yes, welcome, welcome. And now he always says about me and my roommate, he says, you're not just my friends, you're my family. And that symbolizes for me a lot of the community here, that when they take you into their hearts, it's like forever, and they really mean it. And also, like here, I always have to drink something for free. I can't go outside without having a free drink on the house. And that's for me, that's very typical on Molenbeek. Yeah, it's when I go shopping for groceries, it's also always the same. It's like when the bill is like €10.50, they say €10. So I always get to pay less, and it's something that when you, yeah, in other places when you go to a regular grocery store, they will say €10.81, and it will be €10.81. So I think, well, a lot of people, what I did notice right after the attacks, was that Molenbeek was very quiet. Like it was, normally there are always a lot of people walking around here, and I had the feeling that Molenbeek had like a collective feeling of shame, because a lot of people, of course, they heard all these rumors about themselves that weren't true, because of course there is a problem, and there are some people with problems, but eventually that's like eventually that's only a small part of the community, and the most people are amazing, and so they felt like really ashamed. They got really quiet for a while, and I think that maybe is the thing that kind of changed, that people are less proud to be Molenbeekois, or perhaps some became prouder because we had some actions like I love Molenbeek, and yeah, I think it kind of varies. I don't know if things really have changed, seeing as of the beleid. I think by now people are, it's starting to fade a bit, the impact of the attacks. But like I said, I had the feeling that people were calmer for a while.
Have you ever felt afraid here?
No, never. No, because I come home quite late often, and I always go by foot, or only if I'm too lazy I take an Uber, but that's only if I'm too lazy, not because I'm scared. So I often walk home from the city center to Molenbeek all by myself in the middle of the night, and I've never been scared. So yeah, not at all. We'll move to Iceland. I don't know. It might happen. Everything might happen. But if my life doesn't immediately change, I'm at this point. All I see in my future is Molenbeek. So, yeah, I'm very happy here. Well, I think what often happened was like a lot of young kids, they had like their place within the community and perhaps also within the mosque, but they didn't really had a place to like develop their talents and to be recognized as a person. And I think it's very important that young people especially don't only have their place within their home, but also in the city, especially a city like Brussels. It's very important that people feel that they live here too, that they have something to say. And I think what happened in the past was often that there were like not enough organizations, sports schools, everything around that, that like gave young people something to do. And I think a lot of children got bored. They started hanging around with the wrong crowds in the streets, and then perhaps got really fascinated by the Quran and perhaps got connected to the wrong people. And of course it's those people that are, those kids that are hanging around on the streets on their own feeling bored, that are the easiest to talk into radicalizing, because they're vulnerable and they're approachable. And of course when you feel left out and disrespected, and there's someone who says like, I see what you can do, I see your talent, then of course that has a big effect on those children. And when that are the wrong people that say that, that can have like huge, it's a fact that people were actively gathering people to go to fight with in Syria. Mm-hmm. They were actively gathering, so of course then it's logical that they.
But have you spoke with someone who was who experienced this, so who met with people who were asking them?
No. No, I don't think those are the. I don't think the people that are already like that far involved, they wouldn't talk to someone like me because I'm not wearing a head. I mean
from the second.
Oh yeah, like that. No, I don't know any, but I do know some people that say like, yeah, we knew there were some problems, but never that they were like that serious, and that they sometimes that's something that also happened, that sometimes the community, the police reports were clear on that often the community reported, I think there is a problem with this kid, and the police didn't do anything with it. So when the community tries, I think that's again, for me, that's again an example of valuing your people and saying we're listening to you. And when people are telling that they're afraid of someone or what's happening to someone, and the police isn't listening, then of course at one point they're like, nah, why should I still tell them? They're not listening anyways.
But with Salam, let's continue. With Salam Abdeslam, you probably spoke with people here. Did someone notice that something might be wrong with him, or
no, well, I don't know. Not the people that I know. But I'm not sure if it was with Salam, but there were like some reports of the police inspection, so the police of the police, and they did note that a lot of things were already known, but the police didn't act on them. So when people from here told them were worried about that or that person, I'm not sure if it was Abdeslam, the police didn't act on it. So of course, what else can a community do then?